Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 140. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by Ryan Sinitsky and Jenna.
Hello.
Hello
Hi,
there.
guys. Welcome back on this fine Saturday, Sunday-ish, morning-ish thing. Starting off with beer, I didn't grab one this time.
I still have I have a PBR.
Sounds good. Well,
I
at
still
least you
have
have
my
one.
coffee.
You still have a coffee. So
Nothing has changed from last week.
There's a swig of this
A drip
Mitch
of,
Golden Life.
of Mick Golden. Gross.
I like that you called
Boomer
it
beer.
Mitch because that's much more
All
fitting.
the rural people call it a Mitch Golden Light.
Yuck.
Not a Michelob. They probably call it Michelob if you ask them for the whole. Anyway, head on over to patreon.com/Carbitrage to take a look at the 2 levels of open-ended direct support methods we have for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. Patreon.com/Carbitrage. Anyway, now that the pleasantries are out of the way,
Yes.
I want to talk about the BM Dupra.
The
Well,
BM
Dupra?
Dupra.
The
That's
BM
a
Dupra.
great name. That's a great name for that.
You're welcome. Just came up with it right now. So, the GR Supra, the Mark V Supra, also known as the BMW Z4 Toyota thingy.
BM Dupra.
BM Dupra,
I like that.
Papadakis Racing, which I grossly misspelled, and I re-edited as you were editing it.
I know.
And then you
I
edited
was
the
laughing
edit
really,
in
really
the notes.
So he misspelled Papadakis Racing,
Yeah.
and I was editing at the same time. So what we ended up with was Papadakis Dildolopoulos Racing.
So anyway, these guys, right after the GR Supra launch edition actually started getting pushed out, they bought one,
Yes.
and they took
Oh, wow.
the B58 out of it, and they did a few video series on tearing it down.
Oh, that's lots of sparks.
And building it up again to hit the mythical 1,000 horsepower, whatever. So
Ooh.
on the teardown, they were kind of going through, and the components were, fracture split, forged steel connecting rods, forged steel crankshaft, really, really, really girthy aluminum reinforced block, Valvetronica in the cylinder head, which kind of threw them for a loop, buying specialty tools and things like that. But
Yeah.
Video Series 2, they threw a new set of pistons in it, new set of rods, and then valve springs. And I think that was pretty much it. And Episode 3, which just launched a couple days ago here, they strapped this thing to a dyno, finally, with a custom fixture, and they made 1,009 horsepower on a Superflow dyno at the crank.
Wow.
But with a pretty small turbo. It was a 67 mil turbo.
Oh, wow. That's relatively small.
So, I mean, obviously this will make a bunch more power when it's in a bigger turbo and all this kind of setup. They had a failure, what you guys just saw at the beginning of that video with the
Yeah, the
sparks. The
sparks.
direct injector failed because they're not using them at all. And
Oh.
apparently the direct injection tip overheats
Oh,
and
Jesus.
melts if you don't use it because the fuel
Oh.
cools it. I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
So they made slugs and hammered them into the cylinder head, and they took out all the DI, so it's just
And
port
the- and
injection.
So they convert it back to port injection. I feel like
Right.
I'll be more excited once they do 1,000 horsepower in direct injection still.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, the fuel pressures involved with that to move that much fuel through an orifice that small is just extremely tough. But I mean, diesel
they need
guys have been
larger orifices.
doing
Yeah.
bigger elements essentially. You could definitely do it.
So, Papadakis Racing, if you're not familiar with who they are, if you're not coming from basically the classic Honda world, Steph Papadakis, he set I believe it's the world's first 9-second horsepower Honda Civic.
Nice.
Or, sorry,
9-second horsepower, wow.
9-second Honda Civic. It had a front half, back half. That yellow Civic that's in the Peterson vault,
Yes.
that's his car. So it's also was the very first Honda, very first Japanese car, if I'm not mistaken, to ever be in the Peterson vault. Actually,
Yeah, when we were doing the vault tour, Ryan was telling the tour guide about all the Japanese imports.
because she didn't know shit about them.
And she was just like, okay, that's
She knew French
cool.
cars, which is great. It was
Yeah,
actually
she
really
was
cool.
really smart, but whatever Ryan would tell her about Japanese car, you'd see that she's like, cool, I'm not going to remember this, but
Yeah.
cool.
But anyway,
We should go together, and then we'll just destroy her on JDM and BMW.
well, they have different people. It's actually really cool at the
Okay.
Petersons. They have different people that have specialized. Like, there's a person that specializes in like pre-war American and pre-war French and pre-war German. Then there's like the Japanese person and everything. They also had the very first Ferrari, the Ferrari 166 or whatever.
Was it a tractor?
No, the very
Good.
first Ferrari race car. But anyway, so Papadakis Racing,
mind.
after setting all the records in Honda racing, they went on to be one of the very first teams in Formula Drift. They were the first team to actually win To actually win Formula Drift without factory sponsorship. I think they actually won the very first season back in like 2003, even. First Americans to win, first Americans to bring a drift car to D1 GP and actually win a race.
So what you're saying is these are actually fairly well-known folks.
Yes, and Steph Papadakis is a very well-respected person in the tuner community, so he's not just like some guy that's just like throwing in some stuff. Like, this is a person who actually, knows what he's doing. It's not just like, so it's not just some random person slapping some stuff together. He might actually. It's very rare to find somebody that does use the scientific method, but there are some tuners that do that.
I'm just I'm surprised he didn't start baselining and trying to hit this with stock internals first, but I guess he probably doesn't want to window a brand new engine.
It's probably prohibitively expensive. So
but also like the size of that turbo. I mean, you've seen it here. Like, it's not a big turbo on this thing.
To be honest,
it's what we call a potato.
He's probably building this for a drift car.
He said it is going into a car.
So that's probably why he's trying to make it like more reliable.
Spool it up a little quicker too.
But I mean, at the same time, I would love to see somebody actually turn this into a, see what you could make with this engine.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get there soon.
Like,
it seems like
internals.
the attention
all the parts are so clean.
Well,
they
they're all
blew
brand new.
it blew a rear main already.
He put it in wrong.
Oh, he did?
He's like, yeah, I folded it over. So we put a new one in. Took us about another hour. Like, okay.
That's good.
Yeah, but so they're running this thing on AEM Infinity, port injection only. And yeah, like I said, a 67 mil turbo, I think. So they're going to throw in a car. But it's cool. The B58's already over 1,000 to the crank, not to the tire.
But still, I mean, that's a really important
What an
thing.
accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a milestone for one of these things. I mean, there's always that first person to 1,000. I mean, N54s, they've done the same thing on engine dynos with port injection.
It's more just like putting that on your resume as the first person to make 1,000 horsepower.
Right.
I'm really happy to say the first person to make 1,000 horsepower on a BMW Toyota engine is the first person to build
BM Dupra.
the BM Dupra engine. Is the first person to build a 9-second horsepower Honda Civic. So whenever somebody says Honda, guys don't know what they're talking about, then you can just go ahead and sniff my butthole.
I like that you've said 9-second horsepower.
Several times.
Yeah,
oh
like
my God,
it's just like the BM Dupra. We're just gonna run with it.
Yeah, we're running with it now.
I got my entire class the other day to forget how to pronounce words, and I was like, I am so sorry. I've instilled my speech impediment onto you.
Speaking of the Supra, I've got Toyota Supra news.
Not the BM Dupra.
No, this is actually a story that I didn't break it, but I was one of the first people to write an article about it. Because I actually saw this on the live stream.
All right.
Toyota's back in video games.
All right. That's actually pretty significant.
Yeah,
They've
it's
been
huge.
out for a long time.
2 years. 3 years.
Oh, I thought it was even more than that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's been longer than that. It was 2016 that they into 2016. Anyway, so they're bringing the Mark IV Supra, not the BM Dupra, back into Forza Horizon 4, which is great.
Thank you for saying that, right?
And it will be December 17th.
Every time he's
so
told me about it, I've corrected him.
Next week, if I'm not mistaken.
That's pretty mint.
I'm really excited. Then they're going to probably move on to some other
They'll add the
Japanese
BM
cars.
Dupra.
Yeah, they will. But this is the thing, is they said that they're doing this for years to
like a
come.
Supra. Nice.
Yes, I had to take a photo of that. Because that car, this game is the reason why I love the Mark II Supra, because I fell in love with it while playing Forza Horizon 2. Now, what I was going to say, though, is Toyota's whole thing, do you know why they pulled out of video games originally?
Yes, but
You've told us, but I do not recall.
It's because they didn't want to promote street racing.
Oh, gosh.
Meanwhile, the BM Dupra is going to be featured in the new Fast and Furious movie, which is literally about street racing.
And it literally says an acronym that has racing in it on the back.
Yeah. And then you also have the Super Street build of the BM Dupra, which is Super Street is about super powered street racing.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go back to the Fast and the Furious? They also commit lots of other crimes.
Yeah. So
that's just a crime movie.
So this is.
So we don't want
Makes
to
it
promote
saucy.
crimes. Here you go. Here's our new car.
But all right. So that all contradicts their whole kind of weak thing about not wanting to be involved with racing. They were still keeping their car in Gran Turismo Sport,
Okay.
which has a Tokyo Highway map.
They're smart.
Which is literally for doing Kanjo runs on online play. So it's like, Who are they lying to? Because it's not me.
You've done that wrong, Toyota.
But anyway, so Toyota, they're also they've gotten right tight with the licensing. I think it was a licensing thing because they wanted to redo all their stuff.
Okay.
Because Toyota also pulled their licensing from Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels is releasing a new Supra. The
BMW
next, yeah, no, the Mark IV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hot Wheels is actually releasing their new Mark IV, but I mean, it makes sense pulling everything away because as Porsche showed,
rein it in.
yeah, as Porsche showed actually on accident in the early 2000s when they had a licensing contract with EA Games to only put their cars in EA games.
Yeah. Then other people went to roof.
Yeah, everybody else in the world went to roof, but when Porsche came back in 2010, like it was bananas. People were buying like $15 DLC for it left and right without a question.
Yeah.
Oh, I got important news, but I'll talk about it later.
Okay, I'll let you go next.
It just reminded me of something super important.
But yeah, so I think Toyota was trying to do the same thing, and they managed to do that on a fraction of the time that Porsche did. So Toyota, I guess, is just better at that. But they are going to, they're going to have their cars in video games now, and I know that Forza has they're kind of number one for being able to get Toyota now.
Sure.
And they already have a lot of cool Toyota models ready for the game. They just need to update the textures for.
Okay.
So I'd really love to see not just like the Supras, because they can easily have all 5 generations of Supra in Forza, but I also like them to have some Cressidas, because
especially because
really cool.
you can do some swaps in them. You know?
Yes, Corollas, because they have a lot of Corollas already for the game.
You should put a Corolla
Celicas.
XRS in there.
I know, right? Celica that they could put in the game, even the front-wheel drive ones, and Coronas even.
And a Space Cruiser.
Yes, and Space Cruiser.
And and a Previa.
But what's actually really interesting is a lot of people are just looking at some of the licensing that Forza has purchased recently. There's rumors that the next Horizon might take place in Japan, which means I might get some cool, weird cars that I like. So I'm excited.
I am just totally glazed over on that one, but I'm glad you're excited.
Well, I mean, it's fun. Not everybody wants to play a video game. It's just a bunch of Ferraris.
Yeah, I don't like playing many video games anyway. Like BeamNG is much more interesting to me than something with an actual, I can go buy this car.
I like the idea of being able to have the car that I can't afford. But I want something that I realistically want that I can't afford. Because I don't care about Ferrari FXX. I really couldn't care less. You couldn't pay me. You could honestly pay me a lot of money to go on Twitch and pretend to like it, and I still couldn't care.
Right, because you're bad at feigning interest.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. But if Mitsubishi had paid me to drive a Mirage,
oh yeah,
then I would be excited about that. That's
offer still open, Mitsubishi. You can pay Ryan to drive a Mirage.
If somebody Toyota and stuff like this, I care more about this than I do other things. So this is very fun.
That makes perfect sense.
It's like getting all your favorite BMWs in a video game.
I think they already did that.
You like mainstream cars. Jana,
but
what would you
go
like?
to the Carbitrage. I put a link.
Carbitrage notes. It's a link.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
This relates to.
Oh yes, this is true. This is actually very cool.
This isn't new by any means, but it's very new to me.
Bad.
Mario Kart has a bunch of Mercedes in it.
Even.
Interesting. Oh, there's a pre-war there.
Thank you.
But yeah, so they have
1934 W25.
Yes.
They have so many different Mercedes, and I love them. And I was because I hadn't unlocked them because I'm very bad at unlocking things in video games.
Don't worry, I got you.
And we were playing with a friend who's unlocked almost everything in Mario Kart. And he had a bunch of Mercedes, and I was like, "Oh,
this is actually really rad."
It's really fun.
Yeah, and who would have thought? And they're not even the popular ones. They're
just cool Mercedes.
Yeah, the 190 SL.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a 300 Roadster.
Yeah, but still an SL.
The Roadster though, not the Gullwing.
Exactly.
Okay, and the GLA, really?
Yeah. They don't have an SLR or anything, McLaren or anything like that.
Right.
But then the pre-war race car, not a big red pig or something.
Right.
I just love it. Anyway, so.
That's really
And they're
cute.
actually really fun to drive too. They're not just thrown in there. They handle a lot like a Mercedes would in other video games.
Actually, they are surprisingly close to how they would handle. So the 300.
So you want the GLA then?
No, the 300 SL has poor handling, but really good top speed.
Mm-hmm.
The pre-war car is really good at acceleration. And then the GLAs are really heavy. So it's good for ramming. So they all have their own purpose. So I'm really good with the pre-war car because I like the fast acceleration because Jen always has me play with her controller, which has terrible controller drift. So I literally can't turn left.
Oh, on the
On the switch pad.
Yeah,
So
I've heard
I
about
literally
controller
cannot
drift.
turn left like at all.
Yeah.
So like whenever there's a left turn, I just have to hit the wall. And like that's just how that's just what's gonna
And I,
happen.
of
So I have to
course-
accelerate again. But anyway, I end up in first place. At the
Yeah,
pre-war
and I, of
Mercedes.
course, exclusively race with the 300 SL.
Of
now.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Isabel, because she's the best character.
I play with Rob.
Anyway,
You play
No, Rob.
Waluigi.
No, no, it's
Wah.
it's the '80s Bowser dude,
Oh,
Rob,
Yeah.
with cool sunglasses.
I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart lately, so I just
doesn't show.
I just wanted to like
That's
I
a
saw that
very-
and I thought it was really cool.
It's very sequitur. So
It's a very, very cool little thing that people don't really talk about. Is that Mercedes is in Mario Kart?
honestly, I would be more excited if Toyota had a DLC for Mario Kart
Me too.
than
That
for,
would be very
for
cool.
Forza. And it's probably easier to the physics models probably like don't exist for those things.
No, you
Yeah,
just kind of
so
make some
Toyota,
things,
you
Just
know,
make it up, man. It'll be
please.
fine.
Please do, because that's what Ryan and I were talking about. We're like, why isn't there a Toyota or a Japanese brand?
It's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Mercedes is doing that, other people are gonna hop on thinking it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Daihatsu.
That.
Whoops.
Oh my! It'd be so happy. It'd be a perfect fit. Everything's already radiating light and is.
It's all so cute, and like all their concept cars, like the Waku Waku and stuff like that, and the Eco, like that would be great. I
Kids
want
would be able to pronounce
Waka,
the names.
waka,
I was-
waka.
Waku Waku.
Yeah, like it's great. I just really wanted to say Waku Waku. That was the only reason I mentioned
Waka
Daihatsu.
waka waka waka
Sorry.
waka.
Anyway, let's talk about
Yeah. So
let's talk
anyway,
about Land Rover.
I was gonna
Finish
start
your
with
car.
Finish your
finish
cars.
your car. So
Speaking of
I
finishing
sold
them
I
first.
sold the FJ last week, and that thing was a pretty retro funky design when it came out
Yeah.
in 2007. It had
Yeah.
independent front suspension, live axle rear. It had
Yeah.
the triple
3
wipers,
wiper
which is cool.
blades.
But it took
Very
a lot
cool.
of the old styling cues and put it onto a modern platform
Yeah.
that was still pretty capable. But it looks like Land Rover, who brought us the Defender last, I think in 2002, is bringing it back, and it looks interesting. Like the wheelbase and the incline and departure angles look like it's probably going to be pretty good off road. But this is an independent front suspension vehicle, and I don't even know if it's a live axle rear, and it looks a bit too corporate. Like it's
Yeah.
not rough and
Okay,
tumble.
Can we go back to the front? The very front
I
photo.
I like that muffler actually. That looks pretty cool.
All right,
Oops.
no, the dead on front. All right, so
Looks angry.
this is what I'm saying, and what I'm seeing is gonna be very
Looks like a
expensive.
Barbie
No,
car.
go back to the front.
I
Stop
didn't
clicking buttons.
click.
See right there? That's a parking sensor, and these two
God,
inlets.
stupid.
Auto scroll.
These two inlets are probably. Oh no, you have your driver assistant in the windshield, so that's good. If you run into anything, it's gonna be rather expensive.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like a Tesla. If they
You
require a
can't take
special
it.
body shop.
You can't take it off road.
All right, I'm gonna keep going here. So
This is
those
like,
wheels, those are not off-road wheels.
No.
Those are Cheshire.
Yes.
But I mean, it looks pretty butch. I like the taillights.
There's no
It-
wheel gap. Like there's no
It
articulation.
doesn't look like an off-road vehicle.
There's no
So,
articulation in the
I
wheels.
think they need to take the land off and put a range in. Because that's not a Land Rover.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
Range Rover.
Yeah,
You're right,
Try
yeah.
driving this across Africa without costing yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, dude, it'd be totaled. Driving this thing through half a regular trail,
Yeah.
it'd be done. Yeah, it doesn't have the ground
If I
clearance.
took that archaeologically,
I like
I
that.
wouldn't be able.
Archaeologically.
I wouldn't be able to make it back home.
Is this a Panasonic Tough Book hanging on the side?
I think
Yes.
so.
Interesting.
So you can trade your stocks or your freaking hedge fund in the middle of the.
It doesn't have enough interior luggage room, so you have to have everything in jerry cans on the outside.
You have a giant panoramic sunroof,
It
which
looks
will
like it might be
break.
cloth. Or it's maybe fixed glass, so you can't open it.
It's fixed glass, so it's just. Oh no, it's cloth.
Wow, so it's one of the rollback. Those
So
have
that's
a
actually
name.
kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
It's
I guess.
interesting, but like
But
I don't
like,
want it.
It's
winch.
interesting, but it needs to be a Range Rover,
But do you
not
think
a Land Rover.
anyone that buys and hoards a last gen Defender is gonna want this?
No.
Not at all.
Exactly.
This isn't a Defender.
No.
This is
no.
a Defender in the same way a
like you
Ford
said,
Mustang Mach-E's a Mustang.
This is a Range Rover Defender Sport.
Yes.
Yes.
That's just I
Th-
don't
this
even
is-
care that
this
much
is-
about this,
This
but
is a Fiat Renegade versus a Jeep Wrangler Renegade.
Yes.
or a Cherokee versus a Cherokee.
Yeah.
That awful
Yeah.
crossover we talked about.
And you
a
know
couple episodes
exactly
ago.
what I mean just by saying that,
The
even though it's the
front-wheel
same
drive
word.
Awful vehicle.
Yes, the unanimously worst crossover for sale on the market today.
Now,
Ah, jeez.
what I want to talk about, this will
Dude,
be a little bit of
seriously,
a
this
longer
keyboard.
episode, or a longer topic on this episode.
There we go.
because
I'm
I
using
actually-
the keys.
Thank
Woo.
you. It's December now, I think. Or it's the
November.
end of November.
It will be like the last day of November when this
Yes,
goes
it'll
live.
be like the last day of November, maybe.
There-ish, thereabouts-ish.
Anyway, so 2019 is almost done. That means the 2010s
The decade is
are
wrapping
almost
up.
done.
We're out of, the teens, we're getting into the 20s.
Are we moving into the roaring
Roaring
20s?
20s.
I would like to spend a lot of time in this episode talking about kind of like our 10-year challenge thing everybody's doing on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Post a picture of yourself 10
Yeah.
years ago and today.
I want to talk about though, like,
Which-
let's start with what were our favorite cars in 2009 versus now, and how have we changed as people with what we like?
Okay.
Okay. I
Vers-
don't remember that far back.
Well, we can
'cause
just
I was
go
not,
around.
I was 15 years old in 2009, so I was not driving.
Yeah.
W204 Mercedes C300 6-speed.
That's a
That's
very
way
cool
up
car.
there because I think that was launched
Still
that
is a
year.
cool car.
Still
Yeah.
is a cool car. Odd choice. Like the GTR, that was one of its first years.
Yep,
that was
his
pretty
first
cool.
year. Yep. That was also, I think the fastest. Like,
Fastest accelerating probably at the time.
yeah, but I think it was the fastest car in the Nürburgring. Like the fastest like road production car.
Yeah,
Like,
it beat the 911 Turbo.
it was the fastest like high production, like mass production vehicle on the Nürburgring because it was only like the Koenigsegg was faster than that. What's wrong?
The stream just dropped out.
Oh.
I mean, the audio recording's still going, so we're fine there. But sorry, Twitch. Hopefully, I can get that back up.
That's odd.
Oh.
But I think so like my favorite car in 2009. 2009 was the S13 240 SX and the R32 GTR.
Oh, so you're not talking new cars?
Just favorite car.
Oh, okay. Oh,
However,
jeez.
favorite new car is a Honda Civic though, because you saw the Mugen Civic Si happening.
Oh, we're back. Okay.
All right, yeah. So the Mugen Civic Si was my favorite. Was my
So
favorite
that's your favorite new
car
car.
at that point in time.
All right, so yeah, if I'm staying off of new cars, I mean, my favorite cars at the time were, like probably a Mercedes 500e. I had a ton of 190es.
Yeah.
E30s were up the list pretty far. McLaren F1.
Yep. So you haven't changed much.
No, it's all the same stuff.
So my favorite cars at that point in time were the 240 SX
Except
and
for the electric Fiat now.
yeah, the 240 SX, S13, and the R32 GTR were my two favorite cars
Okay.
in 2009 when I was in high school. R32 is still up there. I would not put that at the top of my list though. Top of my list is Countach. Number one by a mile. Sorry. But,
You're not sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, not sorry.
Nor should you be.
Right now, I think my favorite car, the one I want to buy the most, might be my Mark II Supra again. I really want
Okay.
another one. I
Sure.
really
That's
like
attainable
that.
too.
I think I like more of, because like back then I was like really into like, kind of the whole like super custom like wide body and everything, like super street sort of builds. And then more like, I kind of like the preservation of cars. So, but at the same time, I like rest and modding now.
That's
Oh.
my
I know
opinion
what I
on
liked
modding
in
has changed.
2009.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit.
I remember because that's around the time Scion popped up.
Yes.
Scion popped
Was
up
it
in
the
2003.
Yes.
Rawr.
I really, in 2009, me listening to My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy, really liked the Scions because they were really aimed at my demographic.
Yes,
I
they
was
were.
a freshman in high school, so and I've always liked cars, but I haven't at that point I hadn't driven them, so I didn't really care about any of that, I would just be like, oh, I like that car and that car and that car, not knowing anything. But Scion came out, and oh my god, my mind was blown. And my dad was like, yeah, you should like them because they are Toyota. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. And
Yeah.
back then I didn't know how to pronounce Scion.
There was actually one
Great.
other car that was on my list. I just remembered
What?
the CB7 Accord.
Oh yeah, Boris.
Well,
It is
yeah.
still on my list for one of my favorite cars ever. I love that
Also,
car.
my mom's favorite car she's ever owned.
A CB7 Accord.
Yeah.
It's a great car.
She's
Yeah,
like,
it's a good car. It's
she's like,
a
it
good
was
car.
one of my first brand new cars she'd ever bought. And she
It's
said
a
that,
amazing car.
like, you know, we were talking earlier about how, you know, you hate when somebody's like expecting and they automatically buy an SUV.
Yes.
Well, my mom already had 2 children, and my dad said, you can either get another Accord or we can adopt another kid. And she was like, well, I kind of want babies, so she got a Sienna.
anyway,
The first gen Sienna.
Fair enough.
so modifying.
Yeah.
Let's tackle this.
Oh man. So
God, that's changed a lot.
in 2009, for me, it was big wheels,
Oh, God, I know. You went through that phase of the 190.
subwoofers. I still love the 17-inch monoblocks on the 190, but like I put audio systems in cars, every one of them.
Yep.
Put a stereo, sub. I did them for other people. I didn't do anything for performance.
Hey,
I did do big brakes.
I did. Yeah, you did
Interesting.
big brakes. I would do performance stuff. I would do huge subwoofer, and like
And
unnecessarily
a twin
big.
loop muffler and stripping your interior out.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, jeez.
Like I said, it was super
I
straight.
always tell Ryan if I met him in high school, I would have never talked to him.
It's fair. That
Oh
was
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
awful.
But I
As-
did OEM plus stuff too, though.
I wanted
mean,
my car as low as possible.
Yeah, I lowered my cars like crazy too.
Oh, not
Yeah,
as much as I did.
I know.
You just
I-
sound
yeah,
like
you
teenage
damaged
boys.
yours.
Mine was like you could not. I was very proud to state you could not fit a pack of cigarettes underneath my car, like sideways. You cannot fit it sideways. You could fit a solitary cigarette, but not a pack.
Now it would be a vape for all you millennials
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, back in 2009 when we were all still smoking cigarettes because that was what was cool to do as a teenager.
Yeah. No. It is for me. It was a lot of like whatever could
Yuck.
make me go faster. Like that. That was my thing. With as little money as
Low
possible.
Yeah,
and
it was.
fast?
I went from aesthetics. I went from aesthetics to functionality
Yeah.
over the last 10
Wow,
years.
it's like we've grown up. or
I know.
something.
Yeah.
Like I still lower cars, but I lowered them like an inch tops.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, me
window
too.
tint, I used to go darker than I do now.
Yep.
Like I upgrade OEM stereos, but I don't put anything aftermarket in them. I still do OEM plus stuff. I don't really add gauges. Like I put a boost gauge in the 190E and
Yes,
or
you
the
did.
D. I had the coil spring blocks in that thing because the lowering springs in the diesel were out of a gas 2.3, and it
Yeah.
couldn't handle the weight of the big cast iron 5-cylinder. So I had like a bunch of Checker auto parts.
Oh, no.
Oh, I miss Checker. I had a bunch of those things just wound into the front springs. Didn't do it any favors, but that car drove nice. But yeah, sound systems were probably the biggest one.
Yeah, for me, it's what I'm into now. I'm okay. Like, as wild as you can make a car, like let's make it happen. But I care much more about fit and finish than I do even performance. Like, I want this car to be like
And I yell at him a lot more.
like I would.
That's fair.
If I can make 1,000 horsepower on a car, but my power band is as smooth as possible, I would rather have a smooth power band than 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah,
Like-
area under the curve.
Yeah, like I want things to be as smooth and predictable as possible because I want to be able to drive to work frustrated and still come home frustrated and hoon the piss out of my car, make a dude with a Porsche 911 angry, and still be able to go over a pothole without hitting myself.
Well,
Yeah,
I even
yes.
remember like 3 years ago when I had my Accord, he wanted to do all the things like he did in high school to like Boris to my car, and
Right.
I'd wake up having nightmares that he just lowered my Accord without asking me, and I'd like scream at him the next day like, "You're not touching my car!" And then I went on vacation. I came back to my entire dashboard being disassembled.
To be fair, that's because it stopped working and it
You didn't call me.
Yeah, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to worry you because I know you have anxiety. I don't want to give you an anxiety attack while you're in Florida.
That's why I have
Anyway.
medication.
Oh my
It's fine.
gosh.
So
God.
Yeah,
That was still the most hilarious thing that's happened to me in the last decade was coming home to my car disassembled
so
and being
sorry.
like,
I was
did
just
somebody
trying to
break
help.
into my car?
There's the 190. That car is awesome.
So
I love that
there was
car.
my daily driver in 2009. My 1987 190D 2.5 turbo. It had the Cosworth 16 valve interior in it. It had chrome AMG monoblocks. Chrome wasn't my favorite thing, but
Oh God, no, those are chrome. That has
and
to look like a drug dealer
that's
car.
at the.
I got pulled over all the time in that car.
That's the shop that Chunky Kitty.
Yeah, Buff Kitty lives
Buff
across
Kitty.
the street. This is the old shop here. Good memories for sure.
Yeah.
I had Boris Yeltsin, my Accord, named
Yep.
it after.
It had the
drunk.
rising sun under the hood.
Oh, it
Should
was
I
awesome.
find a picture of Boris on Facebook?
Yeah, if you can pop
Yeah,
a link
if you
into
can
it, we can
find
open
one.
that up.
Yeah, you find one where it was once I'd lowered it because I know I have a bunch of photos before I'd lowered it.
Facebook link is fine too. I can pull it up on my account here.
But yeah, so that was my big thing was Boris. That's what I was driving. I bought a Supra soon after, probably about 2010. I had a Supra. Anyway, so
My Sienna was 3 years old.
yeah, and then Jenny, you weren't driving yet, but
No, I had my because I would have turned 15 that November, so I was
you also had the
just
MR2.
got my permit.
I did have, I actually had the second MR2 because the first one got totaled
Yeah, they
in
got
08.
binned in 08. Yeah.
And then
Jimmy
I-
Demos, right?
Yeah, I was helping him out. So I bought the replacement shell in 09, and I got it running in the new shell in 2010, and I think I painted it like myself.
You literally have
It looked like it
an
had changed
album
the-
on Facebook, Ryan, called Born Yeltsin
Boris
CB7.
Yeltsin. CB7. No, that won't have all the photos. If you go to my profile pictures, there's going to be one of the car lowered. I know for a fact.
Well, I'm just gonna do the one of
I
the
think it's in
rising
your cover
sun hood.
photos.
That was one of my cover photos, honey. Just go to my cover photos.
Maybe I
It'll be
can
one
find
of
it.
of the car lowered. Because the car looked awesome when it was lowered.
You had the Enki.
Inky
were they?
RS9s.
Okay.
RS9s. That's
Yep.
what they were. But so you had the MR2. You had
I
the
did.
190.
Yep.
You had about a dozen not running Mercedes parked behind your garage.
I did, yeah. So I had the W126 engine donor for Blubsky.
Yep.
It did have Blubsky at the time.
Yeah.
It was still a diesel.
Yes, you did. I remember going to Cars and Coffee. It was the slowest ride of my life.
Yeah, that car did the quarter mile before it did 60.
Yeah.
This is not in your cover photos.
nuts. All right. Let's do my profile photos.
I'll check that. But yeah, that was. Oh man, I had the cashmere beige or whatever they called it, 88 2.3 with the oxblood red interior.
That's a good.
I
good
had a
interior.
red 85 190E. That was my winter beater.
I remember that.
My ex ruined somehow. By
I
driving it
remember
once.
driving that, and I drove it back on 2 cylinders without power steering.
Facebook messaged it to you. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah,
There it is.
fine. I
That's
just found it.
before it was lowered.
Yeah, I can't full screen this here unfortunately.
Chris
but-
Spangler, before he became Fluxy, the world-renowned drone racer.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that car.
Yep.
Oh Boris.
I love that car. I think
the
it's
same
so
photo?
awesome.
Oh yeah, beauty.
Before I had Photoshop.
Oh yeah.
That's when I washed the car in early March, and I got pneumonia.
I remember.
I was dating Tina Robb, and she broke up with me while I had pneumonia. And I'm like, damn it! I wasn't even mad that I had pneumonia. I'm just like, damn it! She broke up with me.
Oh Boris.
I wasn't even that mad.
Anyway, so that was Ryan's daily in 2009.
Yes,
Do you
it
have a
was.
photo of your Mazda on there now, so I can show people what you currently drive?
Yes, I should. Yeah, right there. If you go to my photos, it's right there.
Oh,
That's my
excellent.
Mazda now. So now I drive a minivan.
So there is Ryan's current daily, the manual Mazda 5. I
yes.
think it's so epic.
And now instead of having drone racers comment on my photos, I've got ladies commenting on my photos.
I don't think I have anyone commenting on my photos. I don't know if I even have a picture. Oh, there's my daily driver next to
I
a
wonder if I
shitty
have photos.
Yeah, nobody-
of
nobody
my
boring
comments on
Tesla.
You don't post that many pictures of Bandit, unfortunately.
No, I do. I think I have posted 1 or 2 like on accident. That were,
Anyway, I probably inadvertently sidetracked us on those.
Anyway, so
if I find a picture of my Sienna.
the automotive industry in 2009 versus now, while Jan is finding a photo of her car.
Well, now it's just a hot mess of people commoditizing everything and ignoring.
What people want.
Right. Oh my God. Getting rid of cars, ignoring electrification, getting rid of manuals, In 2009, you could get a stick in everything.
You could. That was a big thing. It was 2009.
Everything. And they were all modern cars that were reliable, except for the VQ.
And the
GTR.
and the GTI.
And the
202.
Oh, yeah. Was that the first year of the TSI in 09?
No, it's 2006.
No, it was the FSI.
Oh, yeah, 2009 would be the TSI, yeah.
Okay.
FSI and TSI, trust me, neither one of them are.
You don't
that
want
great.
either, but if you're going to pick one, pick the FSI because you can fix it.
The FSI you can make to 100,000 miles. The TSI
Right.
dies at 80.
If you do followers and you do the 1.8T pump and balance shaft on an FSI, you can get them pretty reliable.
Pretty reliable.
Pretty reliable. They're still not good. Don't buy one, but
Because they still have the cylinder heads that shred themselves apart.
Oh,
like a
yeah,
3-liter.
which Volkswagen Auto Group still has not figured out metallurgy in 10 years. Still terrible.
Yeah,
so
still awful.
those engines are still just as terrifying.
So Volkswagen hasn't changed that much. They just got caught.
Right.
That was their thing.
Same thing with like Nissan.
Honda, 2009, it was the dying breath of Honda being an okay car company. Because
The K series was already long in the tooth in 09.
Well, the K series was still their thing. It
Right.
wasn't long in the tooth. It was still their big thing.
Well, it
But-
was, but it came out in 03.
Yeah. Honda had previously kept the D series since
I
the
know,
mid-80s.
but it's still a long run for an engine.
Yeah. Honda takes their engines last a long time. I mean, the J series came out in the 90s.
Well, I understand that, but look at the B series. I mean, that really didn't last all that long.
The B series was 1987 till 1985 until
I didn't know they had 85.
yeah, in the Prelude. They were
I thought that was an H.
Nope. They replaced it with the H when they made the Prelude bigger. No, the B series was 1985 to like 2001.
I gotcha.
No, 2003 when they did the second generation CRV.
Yep. Yeah. I think. Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, so Honda was they're on their dying breath because the S2000 was still around. You still had the
And the AP1 S2000.
yeah, the 9th generation Civic.
The 5th gen Prelude, which I still actually really like how that looks.
That died already. That died in
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
God,
that
I don't
was-
know. I was thinking 99. I'm dumb.
yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, I mean
Jeez.
Honda was still like. Actually, I think that was probably the peak of modern Honda.
2002 is the peak
Of
Honda.
cars.
No,
No,
of
2000,
cars.
Yeah, that's true. Of modern cars, 2002 was the peak. But say of Honda, 2009, they were still really good because you can get a manual first generation Civic or Fit.
Oh, yeah.
You could get the Mugen SI still. You get the S2000 still.
You can get a Honda Accord
V6,
V6
manual.
or 4-cylinder with a manual.
Yeah, you can get a lot of good stuff there. You can get a manual CRV, manual Element.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of good stuff Honda.
09, could you get a manual element still?
Yes.
Okay.
Honda was really good in 09.
Yeah. Everything except for the Pilot, which is trash.
The writing was on the wall though.
Yeah. Oh, it's because they had nothing new in the pipeline.
Toyota, however, was awful.
Yeah.
Awful,
Oh,
awful,
my God. Did they make
awful.
anything good in 09?
No, I mean nothing good. Toyota was hot trash in 2009. They were
Celica was dead. The MR2 was dead. The Supra was dead.
the good Corolla was dead.
The FRS wasn't out yet.
The TC sucked.
TC
the
was
XB
terrible.
was like okay.
That was the second gen at that point. That was a
it
terrible
sucked.
vehicle. Yeah.
There's nothing good that Toyota made.
Wow.
I did find a picture of Bandit. on my
FJ.
Oh, there we go.
Instagram.
FJ.
Jan's got a picture of Bandit.
put,
Here,
like, really-
this is the coolest car
it
that's
in the
available
notes?
by Toyota.
Yeah.
This is the coolest vehicle available from Toyota. In 2009 was that
No.
filthy
FJ
van.
Cruiser was way
Oh,
cooler.
okay,
than this.
and
that
the
was the
FJ.
one interesting product they had.
And
You
this
get this
is
and FJ.
that's how dirty my car always is because I'm always driving on dirt roads.
Oh, also,
And then Ryan washes it occasionally for me.
we should also note that the V6 RAV4 was around
Oh,
then
you're right.
with the 3.5.
I'm also surprised
Yeah,
that
those
Very
were
overpowered
30
vehicle.
mpg and like 5.5 to 60. Like those were
They were
good.
faster than a WRX that year. In 2009,
Oh, yeah.
in 2009, a Toyota crossover was faster than a WRX 0-60.
yeah.
Like that was amazing.
Okay,
I-
fine. So they
I
made
guess
some
back
good
in
stuff.
2009,
Just nothing, no good cars.
my Sienna still had a bumper.
That's
Yeah.
a Rover.
No, it's
I don't know if that's a super delayed comment.
I
but
think it's a delayed comment.
Yeah.
it is a Toyota Sienna.
How much is a Ford Explorer? I have no idea what that is.
I have no idea what that
Sorry, chat. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyway, so
So that's
so also I do want to note Subaru in 2009 still made cool cars. Now they make money. And Mazda
yeah,
was...
they didn't make anything good in 09.
You could also get My Van in 2009. You could
Oh,
get manual
yeah.
Mazda 5 in 2009.
You could
That
get a
is really
brand
cool.
new 6-speed manual E91 rear-wheel drive in 2009.
Yes, you could. Now, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. What cool cars can you get today?
That you couldn't get in 09?
Yes.
Mirage.
You can get
Fiat
Mirage.
500.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I actually kind of can't get that now. Fiat 124.
A good convertible did not exist in 2009. Outside.
Yeah.
No, actually they did.
The NC was okay.
The NC was fat.
It was
the
okay.
S2000 was really long. in the tooth.
It wasn't it dead in 09?
I think it was 2010. But
You might be right, yeah.
the writing was on the wall for it though. The NSX you can get.
The
Supra you can get.
The BMW Dupra is really good.
Yeah.
The Genesis G70, like
Yes.
the mid-size good 6-speed car. Well,
Hyundai got their shit together.
Oh, dude, Hyundai
2009.
09 and Hyundai now, man.
You can get a 3rd-gen Sienna now.
Cool. Yeah, you're not paying us.
Who is
so
that?
I don't know. Sound like a troll.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
if we're successful enough to get a solitary troll, I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it's whatever.
But anyway, yeah. So the there's like a lot of like cool stuff that actually has come out, but we don't really think about it. And I think it's like the Koreans have really gotten their shit together.
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, I mean, they've figured out. Well, they poached all the good design people, the engineering people from German companies. They've figured out suspension tuning. They figured out powertrains. They figured out packaging. They haven't figured out the dealership experience yet.
American cars got really good and then really shitty again in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, now there aren't any American cars.
But I mean, shitty. Like American manufacturers got really good. Like they made the Fist and the Focus ST.
Those
and the
were
Focus
all
RS.
quite a bit after 09.
No,
But it
that's
was
I mean,
in the
like,
interim.
in
Yeah.
the interim, like they made
Yeah.
all that cool stuff,
Yeah.
and they've gone back to being shitty again.
Yeah, like
'cause they
the
just couldn't handle it.
Coyote, the Voodoo, all the ST, all the RS products.
So then you have the even GM made some cool stuff. Like the Camaro came back.
Yeah,
and
the
that was
ZL1, the C7 was really good.
Like, GM's actually made some decent things.
They've had some interesting small car. Cruise Diesel.
Chrysler, night and day.
Oh, dude,
'Cause
Chrysler's actually been pretty good.
They went from being literally having this M Legacy guys. Oh my god.
No, I'm in Legacy guys asking which cars we drive. This Wang guy is a troll. Brian drives a Mazda 5 manual. I drive a Tesla Model S.
For dailies.
I
and then we
drive
have
a
our other cars, too.
2006 Toyota Sienna. It's the best thing in the world.
I also have a 1990 Cressida, a 1991 Civic, a 1986 Subaru GL10. Channel's
I have
got
two
200
80s
Accords.
Accords
Yeah.
because I have a problem.
I have too many things to list.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Burger's list is available on a Google Doc somewhere. In the
Yeah,
internet.
if you like 80s or 90s BMW cars that are really good, I have them.
You also
Yeah.
have a Ferrari.
And a Ferrari, yeah.
Eh.
So, but anyway,
Name it, he's probably owned it or several versions of it.
Anywho, back to
but
the-
anyway, so
yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
the American cars are they've gotten a lot better. Chrysler night and
Chrysler was on
day-
the verge of death in 09, and
Yeah.
they're hopping now.
Yeah, they are really doing well. We didn't have Fiat at all.
I know, yeah, I
Which
mentioned
is
the 500, but yeah,
sad.
FCA.
When
that was
did Scott get the Fiat?
2012, and that was the
2012.
first. Actually, he got his car in 2011, 12 model year. So
Yeah.
Fiat's been here since 2011.
But anyway, so there's like a lot of like really really good Chryslers. They do a wheelie now, which is cool.
That is
Yeah,
cool.
the Demon, and they come with that $1 crate full of like
Yes.
a better ECU and tires.
Oh, what?
Thanks,
what
Mick
was
Legacy.
it?
Thanks for
Hey,
watching.
no problem, man.
James May just opened a Yaris meant for the.
Oh,
Yes, James May
He
did
did
that.
an unboxing.
well,
like that one
was
just
super
happened in
great.
2009.
No, but that wasn't the car manufacturer. That was
Hey,
James
Big
May.
Legacy drives a yacht.
Oh, nice, dude. I
actually really
also
cool.
have a BMW 8 Series. I've
He's
got
got
a
older one.
92 850i 6-speed.
Do you think one of these cameras could reach where it is? Because you can almost see it.
I don't want to mess with
Okay.
them. Mess with their format, but
You can like just imagine it's.
yeah, feel free to post a picture of your car on the Carbitrage Facebook, and we can respond to you directly
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
That'd be really cool. But yeah, so the automotive industry, I will say, for like American Korean cars is way better.
Oh yeah,
For Japan and
They-
Europe has gotten way worse.
pretty much. Like Mitsubishi from making like the Evo
Yeah. Oh god.
to the Eclipse Cross.
The
like,
Evo 10, like,
oh
was,
my!
yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. And
How far can you fall and how many branches can you hit on the way down? The
Mitsubishi
answer is an
Triage.
awful lot of them.
I want to talk about car culture because this one's actually really important.
Oh, yeah.
Because this has had like a quantum shift.
I keep seeing a lot of Facebook posts about this, so let's talk about it.
Yeah. So in 2009, a lot of people are really glorifying a lot of things. What I'm
Yeah.
going to say, 2009, the Honda community was absolutely 100% at its peak. We were completely beyond body kits. You had like the best builds in the world happening in 2009. Because in 2009, you had Big Mike. In 2009, you had JDM Wang. In 2009, you still had Bisimoto tuning Hondas. There was so much good stuff happening at DPK David and stuff like that. There's a lot of really good Honda stuff that was happening in 2009. However, what I think has happened is kind of like with me, with my whole mindset on cars, moving from a just tune it, make it fast to a preservation style. That was beginning to like kind of like percolate and like
I think we've seen a lot of that even in our own preferences.
yeah, and that was really percolating because like you were hunting down rare Euro parts.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I was tripping over these cars that were just full of the good stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was parting them out, and I had all this like super rare stuff. I timed out that guy.
Good.
But yeah, now it's like if I had some of the parts and parts cars that I had back 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh man,
Yeah.
like I can't even find that right now. Like,
Yeah, it'd be really good to have. Yeah.
like even the stuff I put into the
Same here.
190.
My manual Igor, my manual Accord parts car. Like
Well, even
that was-
your CRX, and that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Like parts on that, I'm sure are harder to find now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that is totaled now. So.
But I mean, no, that car still exists. It's just got a B series in it, and it's being hooned somewhere in Rochester. The car's living on.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Not that I care.
I think that the Japanese tuner community has kind of gone from being the in vogue thing for a lot of their cars to being more of like the kind of where the Euro scene was, the classic Euro scene was in 2009. Where now we've pivoted from being the cool tuner thing to being the up and coming collector thing.
Another thing I've noticed, and we noticed this at Monterey Car Week last year, is that collectors are starting to recognize
Yes.
Japanese cars.
That's
They
huge.
are,
That
yep.
is huge. The Japanese, and that's kind of what I was getting at. It went from being the tuner car thing where it's like, this is a great deal,
Yeah.
to being like, I need to get this now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be, in 2009, it was, Eazy-E and Boys in the Hood used to say, wreck the 6.4, throw it in the gutter, go buy another.
Okay.
You could do that with an EG Civic in 2009.
You could do that with A30s too.
Yeah,
late
like-
model coupes, like no problem.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And, like, I remember 2009, street racing in 2009, University Avenue.
Oh yeah.
I would be able to walk 2 blocks straight and get nothing but EG Civics. Like, you might find a RSX or like a DA Integra.
Right. I remember when those were new. I'm like, these are going to become what the Civic is today.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird.
And now when you go out street racing, it's like a handful of EP3s, some really clapped out like 08 Civics. Like,
Guys
it
in
kind of
Mustangs
sucks.
and Camaros.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. A lot of G35s.
I've found in the BMW community, like 09 was like the peak of forums.
Yes, it was.
Car forums.
Yep.
Huge. Now everything is Facebook and people just meme posting and like,
yeah.
you on here, bro? They've made it, the barrier to entry is too low for internet car content right now.
Yes.
And I mean, that's proof of Carbitrage, right?
Yes, but so this is one thing. I do want to note this.
Okay.
Coming from the Honda community, Japanese cars, 2009, you had the forum community. The Honda forum was on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was all talking about the same thing. So you had a very pinpoint focus. There was one thing that you had a magnifying glass on, that was lighting the carpet underneath it on fire. So like, if you had a CB7 Accord, like to get recognized, you had to have like a red leather interior with JDM single piece headlights on a gray market CB3 chassis with 4-wheel steering.
Good lord.
Like, you had to have, like, the weirdest combination of, like, super cool parts. But today, and, like, that's the thing is, like, a lot of like Mugens and Spoon were just like it was unbelievable. Like a Mugen shift knob, like you could buy on a forum in 2009 for like $500 to get like the shift knob in my Civic.
I know.
But today it's different, and not in a bad way, because while Mugen and Spoon are still very cool, there's a lot more of that since that low barrier of entry. A lot of people are saying, hey, let's talk about Bilbo wheels, or let's talk about AC Courget.
And we've got a lot of new companies now too that are a little more startups.
Yes.
And what's required to manufacture, store, and propagate parts like that has changed a lot.
Yes.
In that amount of time.
I think it's the availability of a lot of these rare parts and of boutique parts, and
And let's
bespoke
honestly
parts
say,
are very a lot better now.
the parts that come on cars are
Way
also
better.
quite a bit better now than they used to be.
Much better. And then also with the aftermarket community again, going back to the Japanese cars, quality's improved so much. All those years
Across the board.
All those
look
years-
at KDM cars.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, look no further in the last 10 years. Like Honda has definitely improved significantly
Yeah.
because they have to keep pace with their competition.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Germany, I'd say, has stagnated or gotten worse.
Yes,
Germany has gotten
I agree.
objectively worse.
Like across, again, I hate using the term across the board over and over and over again.
There's not much good coming out of Germany right now.
Not
And
really.
like we mentioned with the G35s, like when you were rolling with your dads, it was like pretty cool. But now you just see them in the condition your dad's was when you sold it, like just totally clapped out.
Yeah, that's the thing. My dad
Right.
had a very rare, because I was able to get him into a super like just bonkers good deal for a Nismo sedan with the rarest factory wheels, white, pearl on black. It was the rarest combination of everything you could get on G35.
Sure.
In his car, like, you could drive around and break necks with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, today
Just
you still
stop.
could if it
Yeah,
was
back
in
when
the
that car was
condition.
brand new,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
did stand out. LED taillights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
it did
just
all that
the,
really
the
cool stuff,
new
yeah.
style language. For
It's just
And
instance.
that
now
was
it's just-
around 2009 too.
Yeah, he got that in
right?
2010. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that chassis came out 04, I think.
Yeah,
but-
he in his no 03.
Oh, three.
But yeah,
I know,
he had
and I
04.
was so shocked when I saw my next door neighbor get that as his first car, because to me that was like a brand new car, and I was like,
Right.
wait, I was like, why did he get a brand new car, and I just
You
got a
want to talk
Toyota
about
Sienna.
the illusion of cost car?
Yeah.
Like a G35 back in the late noughties was like pretty good. It's like
Yeah.
what the Boxster was from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like people really thought it was an expensive
I think
car.
another thing is, let's talk about the cars that break necks. In 2009,
Well, that's not really automotive industry stuff.
but no,
though.
I mean, well, just like in the community, the car that would break a neck at a car show in 2009 was, the
Well,
the
think
G35.
back to Cars and Coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the G35, God, like what was even
I'm
like
thinking-
super wild, like for like
I think
for
we still
Euros.
cared about exotics in 2009.
Yeah.
Like, I think if an F430 came up, and you would probably look at it. But like for me, in 09, I was still like drooling over F355s.
Yeah, well, I mean
Like,
but I mean
An open headlight NSX first gen.
yes, that would break
That would break my
a
neck.
yeah. I think a lot of people took the Supras, NSXs, the Japanese muscle cars for granted.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people took the F325 for granted. The 308 nobody cared about.
No, and they do now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the air-cooled 911s nobody cared about. It was-
That's true. That's
yeah,
actually a really
nobody-
good point. In
nobody-
2010, you could pick up a pretty
Yeah,
okay
nobody gave a
air-cooled Targa
shit.
for like $9,000.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit. A lot of the cars that people did care about in 2009 that people no longer care about,
Yeah.
I would say the Mustang.
Oh yeah.
Number one, the C7 C6 is a for number two for cars that people don't really care about anymore. Like you could drive a C6 into a car show and nobody will look
I
at
think
you.
the Mustang's gotten significantly more popular.
Well, no, that year, the 2009
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mustang.
That, I don't know what year the TIVCT Coyote came in. It would have been a little after that, I think. So
Yeah,
that still would have
was
been
that was after the
a 4.6. Which
yeah.
is still
So
kind
it
of-
was American cars that really
right.
people.
It was a good looking car, but it still had a stick axle. Still a 4.6.
First generation Chrysler 300C Hemi.
Yeah, those are
Nobody-
early. 05.
Nobody cares about that anymore.
Well, it's because they're all broken.
yeah, but-
Every single one of those things has had like a one missed oil change, and those Gen 5 Hemis just
Yep.
don't handle it. They just don't.
yeah, and that's a car nobody cares about. But yeah, so it's there's like just a lot of stuff that like was once cool. I think what that is the very bro cars. I think today, if you look at the very bro cars today, that's the stuff that people aren't going to care about. Nobody's going to care about a Ford Raptor in 10 years.
I think they might, but it would be a first gen. The second gen's
second
a
gen,
commodity,
nobody's gonna care.
right?
Nobody's gonna
The
care
first one, it's like the first and second gen Lightning almost.
Yeah.
It's like one of them is going to overshadow the
Another
other.
car I've not seen at a car show.
I haven't seen a first gen Lightning since one lived in my neighborhood back in
I've
the day.
not seen the SRT10 Ram. Not seen that. Although that one people more care.
The Electric Adventure Show.
I don't know.
I don't know what that is. There's a show called Fully Charged Live in Austin, Texas in February. That's probably the biggest
Okay,
electric
we're-
vehicle show.
Eric's responding to the
Yeah.
commenter.
Yep.
But yeah. So do you think it's been a net positive change over the years?
No.
I think for the Japanese
I
car
think
community.
cars are better, but I just don't care.
What about the aftermarket community?
I think that's worse now.
Yeah.
I think for Japanese cars specifically, the one place that's gotten better. I think that's gotten better
Well,
for Japanese
everyone went
cars.
from making boutique performance parts to tunes.
Yes. Well, the other thing is 2009 specifically, you had the recession. So 2009 you had
Oh, wait.
all right, so Gretti, Apexi, HKS USA, God, there's a ton of APC went out. There's a lot of companies that that went out of business in 2009 during the recession. Like by 2012, you were down to like anything Mac and Industries, Turn 10, or Motivicity you could import, and then like a handful of small companies like MA Performance.
Yeah,
back
but I
then.
think weeding out the boutique is sometimes a good thing too.
That's true because it brings that brings new life. You know, if it wasn't for World
but
War
they-
II, we would still be talking about coach built.
That's
As
not
a-
necessarily pure.
As opposed to talking about hot
Right.
rods like
But
that.
I
all
think when they
became that
went
big
into
change.
survival mode after the 08 recession, we
That's
didn't
what I thought.
necessarily get it back. Like we've seen a couple stories now where like the body kit manufacturers are re-popping some of their old kits to
Tomex,
yeah, and things like that. So it has changed. I think cars have gotten better quality, and I mean the fact that we have the electric boom has started, massively propagated, and is now mainstream in that 10-year
Yeah.
span. In
That's a big thing that we should
2009,
talk
like
about.
you couldn't
Nobody
couldn't
cared.
get any of that.
And not
Like
only that,
the
even
Leaf and the Volt were kind of first to market,
yeah.
and they're
Well, that's the thing is like 2009 electric cars, you had the iMaev. Like nobody cares.
yeah.
Like,
Nobody wants that 13 kilowatt hour thing that looks like an EV. There's no sex appeal.
You had a
Yeah.
Tesla Roadster, a first
That's
gen,
true.
which was cool, but
Might have been
realistically,
2010.
no, it was 2009.
Was it? Yeah.
But
okay.
you know what? That was cool, but in the grand scheme of things, again, like
Well, I mean,
it was
those were really rad, but they weren't mainstream, so
No.
you couldn't care about it. Like, good luck charging that thing. You kidding me?
yeah, like, it was ridiculous.
There's one of my favorite things about Road America. There is a legacy Tesla Roadster charger
That's
at
hilarious.
the track.
That's awesome.
Doesn't work with any other EV. It's just nothing. I'm just like, oh, okay.
That's awesome.
It looks almost like a European Type 2 charge connector, but I was up there and I was on the app where it shows you all the chargers last time, and I'm
And
just
you're like, oh wait,
Tesla
what?
Roadster charger.
We can say handily the electric car market's night and day better. I would say
Yeah,
that
my neighbor got one April
Yes.
7th, 2009.
I remember that. Yeah,
This was the first one in the Midwest.
the
so,
first one I ever saw.
Yeah, it's a cool
Very,
car.
very cool car.
Very cool car.
Very cool.
But I would say the electric car market, the Japanese car market have gotten way better. Importing cars,
German
way,
car
way,
market's
way
gotten
better.
way worse.
Yeah, but I mean, like importing cars personally, classic imports.
Well, it's because the caliber of vehicle that's outside of that window is better.
Well, not only that, the companies that came with that, it's just a better experience. Because in 2009, you did not have Top Rank. You didn't have anybody like that was, going to sit there and like actually is accountable for what they bring in.
Sure.
It was
yeah,
like a
you
couple
had
of fly-by-night
random
people.
in Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the professionalism. Sorry, professionalism, not professionalism.
Yeah, professionalism
Has gotten a lot better, and especially the aftermarket and the import community. Like if somebody asked you to import a car in 2009, you would think it's a drug deal.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh, yeah, no big deal.
I remember the very first imported car I ever saw. like legally imported car was a right-hand drive A86. And the dude's like, none of it works. It's made of rust. This thing sucks. I hate the guy.
I paid 20 grand.
Yeah, no, the guy paid like seriously 30 grand. Bought us some like crack it on Craigslist. Like it was awful. But like now it's like you pay 30 grand, you get an R32 GTR with like a full dealer record. Like top rank has gone through the whole car.
Yeah.
Like that gets you a lot.
You can
maybe
buy
not,
it and drive it back.
Maybe not GTR anymore because the GTR
You can get like 7 Nissan Pals.
You get the world's best GTST then.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get the world's best GTST for $30,000. But that's the thing is like you can like if I wanted to import a weirdo car, like if I wanted to import maybe not Twingo. But say like I wanted to import a Renault.
It's like Rembrandt.
If I want to import a Renault 5 Turbo like 2,
Sure.
Yeah.
that would be a nightmare because it's an expensive car that I would have nobody to help me with. I'd be totally in the dark. And there's a high likelihood I wouldn't be able to get my car.
It's a homologation car, so it's probably going to be really well looked after.
But that's the thing is actually getting the car to America to use it and title it would be just the worst experience of my life. I need a lawyer. It'd be terrible.
Oh, back in the day, yeah.
But like today I'm like, hey, like top rank.
Ship it to me.
I got this one car. Can you find it for me? They're like, yeah. And they give me a call like 2 months later and be like, hey, we found it. I go, cool. How much is it? And they go, 40 grand. I'm like, what's the extra 10 grand? They're like, we made sure it was legal. We made sure that all the numbers are matching. We made sure all the work was done on it. And you can drive from California
We
to
saved
Maine.
you the 10 grand you would have to otherwise spend to have a worse car.
You can drive it from the port of LA to your house in northeast Maine. And not have it break down. And if it does break down, give me a call. We'll help you.
Yeah.
Top Rank is very much a pay more to get more company.
That's what you have available. Like that didn't exist in 2009. Like
Well, I
that's
mean, it
huge.
kind of did, but it was like a subculture, and it was very small volume.
Yeah, it was still considered gray market largely because a lot of these cars were.
The 25-year import rule is still
But I
there.
mean, even with the 25-year import rule, like. You would still have that butt pucker whenever you have to go to the DMV.
Oh, for sure. And
Like
a lot of those cars weren't world cars, so like trying to service any of that stuff.
And that's the thing is like today, like just take your GTR like to the DMV, go slap some tabs on it, whatever. Go take your GTR to the Nissan dealership, like go get a part for it. Like they won't care. Like it's just a thing, and it's amazing. Like,
And the sad part of that is if you have a car that was originally purchased in this country, like an E30 M3, you cannot order half the parts for that car at a dealership in the United States because you have a U.S. VIN.
Also, another thing we should also note: historic parts have gotten available.
Well, for Japanese stuff, yeah.
But Mercedes.
Way worse for BMW.
But I mean, well, okay, some BMW sucks as a whole. Like let's.
I think it's worse overall, honestly, in Germany.
Yeah, Germany sucks. Okay, so but I mean, like you can now get an entire Miata from Mazda again, an A Miata. You can get an entire R32 from Nissan.
Do you think that's because the boomers are more into them now?
No, I think it's because more millennials and more Gen Xers are taking the positions that boomers had.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. You can still get the boomer car stuff because that works on these cars.
Yeah.
Because like you used to be able to like get like a small box Chevy Crate, and you still can from the dealer.
Dude, you can get one of those from O'Reilly for $1,200.
But I mean, a all GM part one.
Oh, I gotcha.
That's I mean, but I think outside of Germany, it's gotten better.
Yeah, probably true. Just from my experience, the things I deal with, it's been a
You work
little bit
mostly
worse.
in Germany.
Right. So
I
How
am
was it
drinking a PBR.
importing,
Brexit.
Brexit? Yeah,
super easy.
Brexit.
The hardest part is honestly buying the car overseas.
Yeah.
Like finding somebody that's willing to deal with that, and just arranging for it to get to a port and then get out of the port.
Yeah.
Like the paperwork is really easy. Titling it is just like any other car. There's just a special form. Again, I used an importer, so I don't have to do any of that work.
But you could do that.
Absolutely.
And that, I
it-
think
the information's out there now too. So if you put your mind to it and you had a week of time, you could easily do it.
I think that's why like when I say outside of German car like OEM, the automotive world's gotten better.
It has.
I think
And
it's a net positive.
really the only huge downside I'm seeing is death of manual transmission, but we're getting EV now, so it's like
Yeah.
I don't even really care that
So
much. We've
you
got all
don't
the good
even need a
product,
manual.
and we
Also-
had a huge resurgence just before they died.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. I do want to note one other small item before
Okay.
we kind of move on from this. Lowriders.
Sorry, I got the wobbly chair.
That's fine.
Lowriders have gone mainstream again.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I love that because lowriders are that thing that get the next generation into cars. That's that thing that goes, look how cool that is. Like a lowrider is like that thing that's going to grab people's attention.
It's something that definitely will get people's attention and get them into cars, but it's not the thing.
Well, it represents the thing. It's the thing that's going to grab people's attention.
I think the thing is electric cars.
Yeah, EVs will be the thing that they do, but I think that the thing that like gets interest is going to be the thing that grabs your attention.
Well, it's the most different, certainly.
The most different, and I think it's the quality of work is lowriders have always
second to none. Yeah,
they've always been in the background setting a bar for quality.
So in 2009, we talked about how Toyota marketed at younger people through like
Scion.
the Scion, and other brands tried to mimic that as well.
Yeah.
But how would car companies today, like Tesla or whatever, like an electric car company, market to those guys now, 10 years later?
10 years later,
Yeah.
how would you market to young people?
Yeah, like what celebrity endorsements or
I
whatever?
think
look at what Scion was doing 10 years ago.
That's a good
and
point.
look
How
at
would they do it today? First off, I think instead of like no haggling, because like that's expected, your financing is gonna be more important because
and insurance costs.
yeah,
Frankly,
insurance
for young
costs.
people, that's a
insurance
big deal.
is gonna be unbelievable, but financing and insurance are the two things that get young people into cars.
I think the use of the internet for car sales has gotten
internet car
significantly.
sales.
Yeah.
As far as celebrities, nobody cares about will.i.am.
No.
Nobody cares about Kanye West. I think
true.
if you're going to have a car sale and you're going to have some sort of celebrity endorsement, first off, don't. Because that never
That was
works.
just like an example. Like,
But no,
what do you think they would do?
I think if they were
Or
to
they
use
should.
some sort of celebrity, it's to be somebody that's to be more attainable. Rich Brian, the rapper, I think, would be something. Chance the Rapper. You're going to be getting somebody that's, instead of being like super bougie, you're going to have somebody that's going to be like a SoundCloud artist. So like Robert Parker, if Tesla's trying to market a car to young people, they should seriously be looking into like Laserhawk or Robert Parker for doing music in the background on a commercial. As opposed to,
I know, I'm hearing a lot of Lizzo too.
yeah, a lot of Lizzo, stuff like that. Like you're gonna want somebody that's a little bit more down to earth, like somebody that's not a huge star. Because in 2009, everything was about like the biggest celebrity, like oh my
It was
god,
Shaq selling Buicks.
yeah, like you'd have these like crazy celebrities like Tiger Woods, and it's like no, like I want somebody attainable, like let me go like spend an hour and a half walking around the car show with this person, like that's what I want.
Yeah,
is
so
I
you
want
want like somebody like indie almost.
yeah, like a Big Mike. I would rather have a Big Mike than Chip Foose sell me a car. Like I want somebody that's gonna be more of an indie, and that's something that's been very much a millennial thing. Because when we were in high school, that's what we were into was the indie band. So
Hate to hijack this, but I'm getting low battery in the recorder, so I
nope,
just want
that's
to punch
fine.
through
Let's
the
just-
last topic.
Next
and-
topic, yeah. Jana just raised a good point. So.
No, we're good. I just want to make sure that our audio recording stays all the way through. So I want to talk about the BMW i division. It's kind of funny. Get that? They have been long since hinting at some expansions for this brand that came out back in 2012 with the i3 and the i8. And they've got official specs for the next, one of the next two vehicles that they're announcing. This one's called the i4. A little confusing because it is based on the G23 series. Who cares, kind of? But they're going to do an iX3 before this as well, probably sharing the
That's
same
just
drivetrain.
BMW making up names.
Crossovers, yeah. But this is a sedan, which is cool. It's
That's actually cool.
all-wheel
Alright.
drive, 530 horsepower,
Electric.
electric, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds,
Can you-
and 80 kilowatt-hour battery.
Can you get like a cheap one that's rear-wheel drive?
No.
Don't care.
At some point, probably, but of course, the launch ones, they have to be the profitable ones.
Yeah.
So this is competing with the
Makes
Model 3 long range.
I love how
I
you're
would
looking at this BMW and there's an ad for Subaru.
Let me just scroll down a little bit here.
Thanks.
So again, like the technology, I'm really glad BMW had the electric car production industry by the balls in 2012. They had it figured out. They had composites, they had all the infrastructure, they had the Bosch electronics, the motors, the batteries through Samsung, and they let it stagnate. Obviously, these cars have been for sale the whole time, but they didn't keep pace with the industry. So I'll be curious to see if this is genuinely good enough to dethrone or compete with the other vehicles that are coming this next year or two.
Going back before we end the episode, BMW, 2009, they had a brain drain to Kia and Hyundai.
Yeah, and that's why
And
Kia and
look
Hyundai were so
What
good.
is
Look
the
at BMW.
funky
Oh, it's going to have
white
giant
lines?
grills.
It's going to
lame.
have the super ugly
Oh,
grills
that's
on
just
it.
a camouflage.
Okay.
But at least it's electric, so they won't be actual grills. They're just going to be outlines of the big, stupid,
perfect.
ugly thing. So we'll
So
see what
they
it actually
sort
looks
of
like.
have kidney cancer, but not really.
I think it'll
It's a
be.
mission.
It fits better on the I line, which doesn't actually have grills.
This
and
car
doesn't make
sucks.
it-
I don't
it's-
care. They put a kidney grill on the doors.
It's the save. This is the only redeeming thing I've found about BMW in the news for the last several weeks. So that's that. It's worth mentioning. The I line is still really good. They don't make a bad product. They just rested on their laurels too long.
When we're talking about 2029.
No, I think this is coming next year.
No, so when we're talking about this in
Oh,
2029.
yeah.
It's be really curious if we're gonna be talking about this is when we called it that BMW is gonna fizzle out like Buick, or if
I don't know.
or if
BMW I's
BMW's
got
gonna
so
get
much
their shit
IP.
together.
I think they will get their stuff together, but either way, there's
Who
that.
knows what's going to happen with electric
This has been a
cars.
very electric last couple of weeks.
Just remember that the in 2009 Pontiac had a lot of IP
Yeah, it's true.
because the Pontiac had the GTO that was out. Also, we should know Pontiac existed and was really cool. But
All their stuff though is hand me down from other GM.
but that's the thing is like you had a lot of IP with Pontiac. IP doesn't mean anything.
It was
You
all
can't-
Holden and Opel.
But no, I mean like all their brands and everything. They had so much that they could work with that they chose not to. So
Yeah,
it's a
why
matter
they
of-
killed that brand instead of something else, I don't really understand.
it's if BMW, it's one of those things where they're not going to be the same in 10 years.
but no.
So in compared to a Tesla, how is the
The i4 is going to be basically a Model 3 long-range dual-motor non-performance, from what I can gather on the specs. A little bit bigger battery, though. I don't know anything on the pricing, and BMW is not full tax credit eligible anymore, I don't think. I'm pretty sure they're over the number of units, so it immediately becomes less relevant.
It's
Once
just
in
not
a
the
couple
tuning.
years, when every one of these companies has hit that critical mass where they've sold too many vehicles where they don't get the tax credit, then we'll be on a level playing field again. But right now, it's a huge leg up for like Rivian, Kia, Hyundai, with the Soul and all that kind of stuff. So I'm still gonna follow this. Even Ford, like they've sold a lot of plug-in hybrids, but it's not. Anyway, neither here nor there. That's all I've got.
Anyway, so if you have input on how you think the world has changed, let us know on our Facebook. We're gonna
In respect to cars,
in respect to cars, we should say we don't want to talk about politics or anything because we get more than enough of that the rest of our life.
it's
This
gotten
is supposed to be
significantly
fun.
worse in the last 10 years.
Comment on our Facebook page. I'm going to put together for our blog a larger post sometime at the end of December about kind of how the automotive world has changed in the last 10 years. It's be a longer post. It's probably going to be really wordy and gross to read, but I'll put some fun pictures so you don't look at.
Coloring book status.
Yeah. So, let us know. And you know what? We're going to, before the end of the year's out, we'll
Modi
probably...
Awards?
Yeah, we're definitely do the Modi Awards. I think...
The Modis.
Before we do the Modis, I'm gonna do like the episode before that. I'm gonna do maybe like a viewer recap. Maybe if we get enough comments.
Give some people some input, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
We're still gonna make up our own mind, but
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for listening, everyone. We appreciate you as always. And it was a little bit of a longer episode, but
that's
I'm
fine.
sure it's
We're right on time.
lots of fun. Anyway, thank
Catch you next week.
Bye.
Oh shoot! Wait! Before we click.